Hello, lovely humans, and welcome back to Only in Connecticut, the official Connecticut podcast. Your monthly invitation to fall in love with our small state, one snack, trail, or farm-to-table surprise at a time. I'm Amanda Elgie, voice actor, tea enthusiast, Connecticut explorer, and for this month, someone who knows that farmers markets in Connecticut are way more than just a place to buy vegetables. I'm talking fresh seafood, artisan breads, goat cheese, honey, maple syrup, jewelry, dog treats, human treats, and so much more. I come from a small town in Illinois, which means not only is agriculture a key industry, it's literally everywhere around you. My high school is in the middle of 4 cornfields. So when I first started exploring Connecticut's farm scene, I had a pretty high bar and figured it was mostly about the fantastic apples in the fall and maybe some delicious roadside corn in August. I was so wrong. This state has more than 5,000 farms covering over 370,000 acres, and they're producing everything from delicious fruits and veggies to flowers to award-winning cheese to humanely raised meat. There are farms that have been worked by families for generations, some dating back to the 1700s, right alongside newer places doing things like goat yoga and llama hikes. Yes, this is a real thing, and while I haven't done it yet, it's definitely on my list for August. So today, we're going farm hopping. We'll hit farmers markets across the state, pick our own strawberries and apples, walk farm trails, eat at restaurants where the chef picked your dinner from the ground that morning, and talk to the people who make Connecticut's agricultural scene so special. Because what I've learned is, when you buy from a Connecticut farm or farmers market, you're getting your food at peak flavor, and you're supporting your neighbors. Bring your reusable bag and your appetite, because we're about to discover why Connecticut's farm-to-table scene is the real deal. Let's start with what might be the easiest entry point into Connecticut agriculture, the farmers market. And we're not just talking about a couple of card tables in a parking lot. Connecticut has over 100 fully certified markets and farm stands across every corner of the state. Though most run in prime growing season, which is spring through fall, a number remain open year-round. Of course, there's the main event, the Coventry Farmers Market at the Hale Homestead. It's the state's largest, happening every Sunday from 10 to 1, and it's been a seasonal must-do for my family for the better part of a decade. There's a new theme every week and assorted special guests. We always go at least twice a year, one of the times being the week with the rescue dogs. But you'll also find numerous vendors who sign up for the full season. You can easily go for tomatoes and leave with fresh pasta, a loaf of sourdough, local honey, lunch at a food truck, a t-shirt, and a new friend who just told you their entire life story while sampling several different local cheeses. Just about everything comes from in-state. What you find changes week to week based on what's actually in season. Strawberries and asparagus in early summer. Tomatoes that actually taste like tomatoes in August. Apples and pumpkins in fall. This is how peak flavor happens. And it's something supermarkets can't possibly compete with. While Coventry may be the biggest, you can find these markets everywhere. You've almost certainly got a local option, and it's probably fantastic. The East Hartford Market runs Tuesdays from July through October right on the town green. The Ellington Market has 40 vendors and live music each week. The Orange Community Market kicks off Thursday evenings in late June. The downtown Milford Market runs on Saturdays through August. The Chester Sunday Market takes over Main Street in Chester Village with local produce, fresh fish, bakery items, brick oven pizza, and live music. I could go on. You're going to need a cooler and some room in your trunk. Something I love is that many markets now accept SNAP benefits and even double them through CT Fresh Match, making fresh local food accessible to more families through the Farmers Market Nutrition Program. Some markets have memberships you can sign up for that come with discounts that easily pay for the enrollment. Because farmers markets shouldn't be a luxury. They should be a place where everyone gets to experience food that was grown with care by someone you can actually talk to. So pack some cash, though many vendors now take cards. Arrive early for the best choices. And don't be shy about asking questions. Trust me, you'll learn more about growing heirloom tomatoes in a 5-minute conversation at a market than you ever would from a grocery store. I got to spend some time talking to Heather and Melissa, co-managers of Coventry Farmers Market, about what makes their Sunday market experience so special.
My name is Heather Neal, and I am a co-market manager for the Coventry Farmers Market.
And I'm Melissa Tremblay, and I'm the other co-market manager.
Walk us through a typical Sunday morning at the market. So what's the energy like when the vendors are setting up and when kind of customers first arrive?
Well, we're there early, at least by 7:30 in the morning. The first vendor could be there at 7:45 to set up. Those mainly are full-time vendors, and they know exactly where to go. So we don't have to help them in any way getting to their spot. But once people start arriving, it's exciting. They're happy to be there, and everyone's very friendly, and it's a very positive environment.
Yep. So what will happen is we'll start setting up, and there's a lot of setup. We have our info tent, which all our old ladies sit there. They're great, give out information.
Yeah.
We have that. We have the music tent. We have sampling. We do waters. We have to put the garbage out. And if you have community tables, we set those tents up for them out in the field. And so people then will start coming. So usually we split off. I'll continue setting up, and she'll go greet what we call our guest vendors. They're the vendors that aren't there every week. And so they don't know where they're going. So she has a list, and so she checks them in. And they set up pretty quickly. I mean, all of a sudden you'll have this beautiful open field, and the next thing you know, it is full.
There's
filled.
tents everywhere.
Yeah. And customers start coming really early. Now, we don't ring our bell until 10, but they're there by 9, a good crowd of them, because they can get breakfast and stuff while the
And then they can
vendors-
view what's out there on the field, kind of making their own shopping list.
Yeah. So some like to come early, get their stuff, and leave, but they seem to be coming earlier because we do have large crowds that come. So if you get later into the morning, the traffic gets a little backed up, and it takes a little longer to park.
That makes sense. We like to come 2 or 3 times a year. We like to get there early enough that we can park in the main lot, like park way back. And also, like, sometimes, I don't know if they're still there, but the macaron place with the line, we would come and like wait in the line because they would sell out.
Yeah, right. We have a new one actually this year, and she has been like astounded by how fast she sells out. And yeah,
it's called, her company is called Crumbs and Creations.
Yeah.
South Windsor.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have a ton of other vendors that have lines. Like we have bagels
From New Haven.
From New Haven. They have a line. Our farms tend to have lines. The bread has lines. And apparently the flour vendor, because the poor guy brought triple what he brought the time before. And by 10:40, he was sold out again.
Wow.
So, yeah. So people line up.
Stood in line for the empanadas.
Yes.
Yeah, the neighbors have a line too.
Rebel Dog does with their coffee. Yeah.
So many good vendors.
There
are.
Yes.
There's something for everyone on the field.
Yes.
So can you talk about maybe something people don't realize about what it takes to get from like field to like the market stand, what it takes to actually make all of this agriculture into a farmer's market?
Sure. So you're only going to get the freshest of the fresh. So all the farmers are out in the middle of the night, in the morning, picking. So you're going to get those fresh strawberries that just came off of the stem, and then you're going to get the lettuce right out of the ground. It's not stored anywhere. It's fresh as can be.
And we start in mid-January, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yes. And our applications open in February, but our full-timers, they get theirs beforehand. So we already start. So we're always looking at, what we have for produce, for meat, for cheese. And then we start the whole scheduling. So we make sure that it's very diverse. There's a well-rounded group of vendors there. We're not trying to have 3 of the same type, except for certain things that sell out, like bread. But it takes months and months of scheduling. Just to...
And we still have applications pouring
in.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. And we will throughout the season.
Right.
Yeah.
So you get new people in the mid-season. They're like, oh, this is a great farmer's market. I want to be part of this.
Right.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, we don't really have the space unless it's something really unique or something we don't have. That's why we encourage people to apply in February, but we get them all season long.
Yeah. Every week, Coventry has a theme. Yeah. My personal favorite is dog days. Honestly, a lot of people's, when they have adoptable pups at the market. How do you come up with your themes? How do you kind of think through the themes that you do every year?
There's some that you always have to have, like dog days. If we didn't have that, people would riot. So there are the standards, like cheese day is another one. That's a really
Farmer's Day.
Yeah. Usually we do something with berries.
Right. That makes sense. And then we apples.
Holiday market is another really big one.
I love that one.
Yes. And then, we might have 2 or 3 or 4 that we've sometimes changed. Like last year, we came up with charcuterie because
it's trending.
It's trending. It's a big thing. A lot of our vendors make charcuterie boards.
And there's charcuterie companies out there that we bring in.
So we bring in. Yeah. They go out in the field. Yeah. They do a whole demo. So like we did that as something new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes you look at what's trending or, or just something fun. Our Savor and Sip, that's in August. So that's another one. So that's like our alcohol vendors and then like food. A lot of times we end with like a Halloween one, but the way the calendar kind of fell, we end before Halloween. And so we're going to just do a restock your pantry one this year. Yeah.
Is that's a new one?
Yep. That'll be our final market of the year on the 25th of October.
Yeah, I'm going to have to come to that one. I'm like, I think last year we came like 2 weeks in a row and it was because dog days happened. And then I think you had a honey.
Yes, celebration of National Honey
Fans. So really excited about that.
Yeah.
Another great day to come is Cheese Day. So we have a cheese rolling contest.
Even on the non-cheese weeks, I like a little to the cheeses from the vendor.
Yeah. But it's great watching these people roll these big wheels of cheese. And the dealer actually gets a big
wheel of cheese?
Yes.
Okay, you can see it.
And there's 2 contests. There's one for adults and one for children.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah, so that's a great one too.
Kind of in that vein, what are some elements of Coventry's market that you're proud to have initiated? And are there some features that you loved in other markets that kind of found their way into this one?
I think one of the biggest things when Melissa and I came on board was we started a Coventry Day. So we're highlighting the businesses that are in Coventry. It's very important that this is our community. So I think that's one very positive thing that we've brought to the market.
Absolutely. And we're just all about having success for these vendors. That's our main goal, is for them to have a good day, have great sales, sell out. And we'll have some vendors that will come in for a year or 2, and then they won't reapply because they're opening their own brick and mortar stores. To us, that's what it's all about.
Success.
Yes, it's just incubating these businesses. And especially the farms, getting people, their fresh local produce, get to meet the farmers.
Yeah.
And the farmers will they'll talk to them, tell them their stories and stuff. But it's just important to put all that local food right into our community. So that's our main focus. And then just to make it fun. It's a free family event, basically. I mean, we have, music, we have sampling, depending on theme, like Youth Day. We have all these youth vendors.
No, that's so fun.
Selling. That's so much fun, too. And then plus we have an art museum bus coming. Oh, yeah, for the kids. The Connecticut Association of Librarians are giving out free books. So it's always an event. Yes, it's a farmer's market, but it's also
it's fun. It's more than a farmer's
market. Mm-hmm. And it's just a fun, free day. I mean, you could just come and sit down and listen to the music if you wanted to. Yeah. And then we partner with, obviously, we're up the Nathan Hill Homestead. Yeah. So they have great programming like woodworking, basket weaving, I think, and other historical things. So they have that too. So there's a whole, I mean, you could spend.
It's an activity.
It's an activity that you could spend the whole day there. No, and if you look at our parking lot, there's people from Massachusetts, Rhode Island. We had on opening day people from Germany, but they were visiting people here, and they said we have to come here, So yeah, it's exciting.
If somebody hasn't been to the farmers market before, if they've never been to Coventry and they've never done the whole experience coming in, when you open and all of the stuff, what's some advice you'd give a first-time attendee?
For a first-time attendee, I would tell them to arrive early, bring cash, because we're next to a state forest, so Wi-Fi is good, but it could be better. And just visit our website, because every week we list who's going to be there that week, and you can see what products, especially the farmers, what they're bringing, so you can put together your shopping lists.
Mm-hmm. Yep, come early, then go to the info tent, because they're a wealth of information. And if you're looking for a specific item, like maybe that week it's soap, or maybe it's beef or whatever. They can tell you who's out there and where to go. And then I would say, just take a loop around first. Just look at everything. And they could do that, before we actually ring the bell at 10. You can go around because most of the vendors are already completely set up. And then once the bell rings, then you can go. Yeah. Or you can get in a line. But coming early first time is key, for sure.
Now, if you want to take the farm experience one step further, let's talk about pick your own farms. I love the experience of walking into a field, picking your own fruit, checking out, and eating something that was actually attached to a plant a couple of minutes ago. Lyman Orchards in Middlefield is one of the biggest places here, and for good reason. They've been growing fruit commercially for over a century and offer nearly 100 varieties from mid-June through October, including peaches, pears, multiple kinds of berries, pumpkins, and of course, so many apples. They're eco-certified and were rated a top 10 apple picking spot in the entire United States. This place can be a full-day destination, complete with a big market, 3 golf courses, a corn maze, and a sunflower maze, and towering pies that you've probably seen in shops all over the state. Bishop's Orchard in Guilford is another heavy hitter, with strawberries in June, blueberries in late summer, and apples through fall. Or try something a little less common with cherries, among other fruits, at Belltown Hill in Glastonbury. Let's talk about how the season actually works, and this is important if you want to plan your trips. It all starts with strawberries in late May and early June. Get there early, because the season is short and everyone in Connecticut suddenly remembers that they love strawberries. July and August bring blueberries, raspberries, and peaches. September is when the apple orchards really come alive, with varieties you've never heard of that are each more delicious than the last. October means pumpkins, and some farms even do Christmas tree picking starting before Thanksgiving. Many of these farms have stores selling fresh-baked goods, wineries for tasting, festivals, and other activities. So you can easily turn half an hour of picking into a half-day outing. The pick-your-own concept extends to more than fruit. Best Bud's Flower Farm in Lyme runs several different varieties of flowers through the summer as they come into bloom. Wander the rows, fill your bucket, and enjoy the hunt for the very best dahlia or daisy among the field. In fact, did you know that greenhouses are the largest subsector of the agriculture economy in Connecticut? While you may not necessarily be picking directly from the tree, greenhouses across the state provide an excellent and often year-round source of flowers and foliage for your home. For a day trip destination, try Logie's in Danielson, with 6 different greenhouses on site, or the sprawling selection at Dietrich Gardens in Cheshire. But there's almost certainly a spot or two local to you. Pro tip for these sites, though. Call ahead or check websites, because weather can shift harvest dates. Nothing worse than driving an hour for peaches, only to find out you're 2 weeks early. Many of the farms have dedicated hotlines with a recorded message to tell you what specific field conditions are like that day or week. Now, we can't talk about Connecticut farms without spending a little time with the grapes, because yes, Connecticut has vineyards, and they're producing award-winning wines that would surprise anyone who thinks good wine only comes from California or France. The Connecticut Wine Trail connects over 25 wineries across the state, from the Litchfield Hills to the shoreline. And these aren't just places to buy a bottle. They're full experiences. Tastings in beautiful barns, vineyard tours where you learn why certain grapes love Connecticut's climate, and events that range from live music to wine and food pairings that'll make you rethink everything you thought you knew about local wine. Bishop's Orchard, which we mentioned earlier for Pick Your Own Fruit, also has a winery where you can taste wines made from their own grapes. There's something pretty magical about picking apples in the afternoon and sipping wine made from fruit grown in the same soil that evening. Arethusa Farm, the dairy operation with the award-winning cows we talked about earlier, isn't just about ice cream and cheese. The Litchfield County area is dotted with vineyards that take full advantage of the rolling hills and microclimates. Jones Winery in Shelton, Saltwater Farm Vineyard in Stonington right on the coast, Priam Vineyards in Colchester. These are places where the owners are passionate about proving the Connecticut soil produces something special. One thing I personally love about Connecticut wineries is that they're easy. You don't need to be a wine expert or dress up or try to detect hints of blackberry and leather. You can show up, taste what they're pouring, ask questions, and talk to the people who grew the grapes and made the wine. Many vineyards also host events throughout the year. Harvest festivals in the fall, summer concert series, even yoga in the vineyard. So whether you're a wine enthusiast or just someone who thinks a Saturday afternoon sounds better with a glass of something local in your hand, Connecticut's vineyards are worth exploring. Try a sip, buy a bottle, and support local agriculture while enjoying a beautiful view and discovering that Connecticut wine is actually really, really good. I had a chance to sit down with Donna Moore from Sunset Hill Vineyard, a boutique place in Lyme, and chat about their grapes and what she thinks makes a good vineyard.
I'm Donna Moore. I'm co-owner of Sunset Hill Vineyard, located in Lyme, Connecticut.
You went from visiting over 100 wineries in California to eventually starting your own vineyard back in Lyme. When did it click that, okay, we just want to not drink wine, but actually make it? And how did that turn into Sunset Hill?
Basically, the whole story started, I should make everyone aware that when Matt and I met in California, and I was already kind of like in the wine industry. I got into the wine industry when I lived in Australia. And then in California, I was doing like wine at home. Instead of Tupperware coming to your house, I was coming to your house with 6 bottles of wine to teach you everything about wine. It was a lot of fun. A lot of clients were like newlyweds, doctors, attorneys, just kind of like getting them comfortable drinking wine, getting them comfortable when they take clients out to order wine. So I was the wine at home person. Then I met Matt, and then our third date, I remember telling him when we first met, he said, "Where do you see yourself later in life?" I said, "Owning a vineyard." And that's just basically kind of like, that's all I said, just normal conversation. Then third date, I said, "Hey, let's go to Paso Robles." And I remember he said to me, he called his friends in Connecticut and said, "I'm dating this girl. She's really cool, but now I'm realizing she's a bit of a snob. She wants to go wine tasting." We go wine tasting, and at this time, I had no idea. Matt grew up on a farm, and he saw that, oh my gosh, they're farmers, but they're farming grapes.
Yeah.
So that's how we got into it. And every weekend we had a chance, more and more we'd go up to Paso Robles. Next thing you know, there are mentors. We're helping them not just drink the wine, but we're also helping them harvest. We're helping them in the tasting room. We're helping them bottle. We're helping them make wine. So then eventually, he came home. He was sitting out with his father, looking at the land, and said, "Hey, Dad, you know what? The hill over there is perfect for growing Chardonnay." And his dad's like, "Really?" Coming from an Italian family, there grew up like somebody's making wine.
Yeah.
And he said, "Okay." He said, "If you and Donna want to open a vineyard, here you go. Here's the acres." And that's how we started. And we've been going, it's been 20 years now. Wow, 20 years. And it's great. It's interesting because, like you said, we started on the other side. And so when we're tasting wine and we had guests at the vineyard and so forth, we always tell them wine is an individual journey. What you like, the other person may not like, because we started on that side and we know how it is. So you're not going to offend us if you don't like something. It's your preference, Yeah. And you should take that journey on your own and just like enjoy it.
What do you think makes your own little corner of Lyme a special place to grow wine? You said like that specific wine grows well in that side of the hill. Like, what do you think Connecticut soil does for wine in general?
It's definitely different for different parts, but for us being right there in Lyme, we're only, if you take the street all the way down to the end, we're right there on the water. There's the little river right there.
Yes,
so we're getting that overflow from there. And your Chardonnay, you always want to have it up on a hill where you're getting the sun, and we're right there. So it kind of makes it unique because our Chardonnay has been, some people said, "Oh, it's the best," but of course, we're going to say it's the best, but it's nice when you have other people coming in and saying you have the best Chardonnay. It is good. We are stainless steel with our Chardonnay. It's a skill kind of like with malolactic fermentation, which is something that we've kind of, I would say, we have it now. We're doing it. And the Chardonnay is always coming out pretty good every year. It's all part of winemaking. You never know. Year to year, it's always changing. And the weather has a lot to do with it as well.
I know we've had a couple of wonky years of weather. Has that really impacted your growing?
Yes. Our Chardonnays section anyway is a smaller section. We're more of a boutique vineyard. So with our Chardonnay, on a very good year, if it's fully a beautiful year, the weather, everything lines up perfect, we can only produce no more than like 30 cases.
Okay.
Maybe 35 cases of Chardonnay to begin with. The year when if it rains a lot, and you want to have a perfect balance. You want the rain, you want the sun. But if it's too much rain, then it's not going to balance out properly and the grapes aren't going to grow properly. If it's not enough rain and it's a lot of sun, then you come with the fact where it's too much sun and you need the rain. So some years it's perfect, some years it's not. The year that it rained, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Where the rain, it's rain all summer.
We were happy to get like maybe, I think we had maybe 15 cases.
Oh,
maybe 15.
Oh, so it halved your
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Wow.
It does affect the ability. And lucky for us, our Chardonnay has its own little following. We have a lot of people who we sell futures. So they're like, oh, can I get a case of Chardonnay? The Chardonnay hasn't even bottled yet, but they want to buy the futures. So by the mid-season, we're done with Chardonnay. As a matter of fact, right now we have 2 cases left.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, like that you have that boutique experience. So it's like very small and you only have like a very limited number of bottles, cases for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of in that vein, you're working with just a few acres of vines. How did you decide what to plant and how have you learned about what actually thrives on the hill?
Mm-hmm. Well, what you have to do the very first thing when you start and decide that you want to plant grapes to begin with, you need to get a soil sample. With us, before we even, with the whole property, before there were grapes there, Matt's family used to have a farm. They used to have livestock. They had a garden. They had sheep. They had goat. They had horses, dogs, of course.
Oh, wow.
Cows, everything. So it was livestock. So lucky for us, we sent our soil sample in. It came back perfect. We were ready to plant. We didn't have to do anything to the soil because it's always nourished from that. So with that, so now we have that out of the way. We do not have to fertilize. We're ready. We're good to go. The soil is perfect. Now we have to figure out, what do we want to grow? So we narrowed it down to our area on what's going to grow well there. I feel like it was in the beginning, I was still in California. So Matt had come back to sort everything out. I think it was like 9 choices. Okay. And that's probably a large number. Could have been like 6. Chardonnay was one. We knew that. Cab Franc. The last field, because we have 3 different lots. So the very last one, that's the one we really didn't know. And we were back and forth with different wines. And then we realized that St. Croix grows well in Connecticut. A lot of vineyards use it as a blending grape. It grows well because it started at University of Minnesota.
Oh.
Which their growing is equivalent to Connecticut as far as with the weather and so forth. So it was created at the university. A lot of vineyards in Connecticut grow this grape. They use it as blending, but we wanted to try to educate people and use it 100%. However, I'm in California. He's here. He's telling me about this grape. So all the different grapes that he gave me, like different ones, Cayuga White, all these different grapes, I'm rushing around California, going to different vineyards, going to different liquor stores. Hey, do you have this wine? You have this wine? And they're like, no, we don't have it. We don't have it.
Because you want to try.
I needed to try it before I say, yes, we're going to plant that. So what happened is that we had a vineyard here in Connecticut send me a bottle of St. Croix, and I tasted the St. Croix. So we agreed on the St. Croix. I mean, it's definitely, you have to just trial and error and try to experiment on what's going to work in your vineyard. But it depends on where you're located. I mean, you have Quiet Corner.
Yeah.
So you have that corner. You have all these different places around Connecticut. Everyone has to get a soil sample and then to come back, and it's going to tell you, you'll kind of know what's going to grow well in your area.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm originally from Central Illinois, and we have like a couple of little vineyards.
We do. Yeah, you do.
Like very small, but not a ton. I was actually surprised at how much exists here in Connecticut. It's a small state, but there's a lot going on in regards to...
It's a lot. Right. It's a lot grapes, but a lot, and there's a lot of vineyards. A lot of them do sweet wines. It's a lot of your blueberries, your strawberries, your raspberry, your peach, your apple. We just don't do sweet wines at all. And also, it also comes down to the winemaker on what do you want to drink?
When I was visiting, they were telling me that you're shifting away from like tastings and visits and going more into being a working vineyard. Can you talk about what does that mean for you? Like, where do you see Sunset Hill kind of going from here?
Today is Saturday.
Yes.
And normally I would be heading to the vineyard. Now, instead of having like wine tastings every Saturday, every Sunday, we've moved it to more of a pop-up type. So, for example, next weekend, we have a lot of people who are coming next weekend, like larger groups and so forth. Weekends after that, and then we host Good Speed. So we're doing a lot of private more, I would say, with larger groups. We're connected with Good Speed Theater. So every time there's a new play, the whole entire cast and members, companies like that, which is really great for us. And we can do that during the weekday. It's not necessary on the weekend. And like I mentioned, it's been 20 years and we've done it. We love it. But I think now we're getting ready where we want to jump back on the other side of the tasting room and we want to be a taster again.
What should people know about Sunset Hill? What do you want people to know?
If you're interested in having an event, if you're interested in bringing a group, just give us a call. I'm Donna, 917-858-9714. Just give me a call and we can lock you in. And you don't have to just wait for a weekday a weekend, anytime. You don't have to just like during the summer months, wait for a weekend to have something. If you want to have something during the weekday at a vineyard, we are available for you and we're here for you.
So we've covered where to buy food and where to pick it. Now let's talk about places where agriculture meets history, because there's a lot to learn about how farms used to work and how it compares to what they do today. Subedge Farm in Avon dates back to the 1700s and was later owned by architect Theodate Pope Riddle. Side note, a very interesting woman who I could do an entire podcast about, who used it to educate students about agriculture. Today it's still working, selling vegetables, fruits, and humanely raised meat. You can walk the same fields farmers have tended for generations. Hillstead Farm in Farmington, also designed by Theodate Pope Riddle, is part of a museum estate from 1901 with beautiful gardens and pastures you can explore. It's like stepping into a painting where everything is green and perfectly composed, and you half expect someone in period clothing to walk by with a basket of apples. Connecticut also has farm trails where you can actually walk through working farmland and preserved agricultural spaces. Longo Farm Open Space in Glastonbury and Hawk Hill in Bloomfield offer trails through fields that have been farmed since the 1700s. It's like hiking, but with red barns and stone walls and meadows that make you understand why people paint pastoral scenes. Some farms are giving back in really meaningful ways. Real Food CT runs community farms in Newtown and collects surplus produce from local farms to donate to hunger relief organizations. They even train young farmer interns. Farming in Connecticut isn't just a business. It's also about feeding communities. All right, we've picked the food, we've walked the farms. Now let's eat the food prepared by people who actually know how to cook it. Many restaurants here have depended on locally grown foods for generations, and many more are emerging to support local growers with entire menus built around what's in season and what's nearby from Connecticut farmers and fishermen. This means menus that change every few months. The produce is picked that morning, and the proteins are from farms in short driving distance. Farmer's Table in New Canaan is just one example of the real deal. Chef Ubaldo literally picks produce from his own farm that morning and bakes fresh bread daily, and his brother runs the farm that supplies the meat. Here, where the motto is, "We do our best to grow the best," you'll find beautiful and delicious takes on classics. For a special night out, visit Orr Hill in Swift in Kent, where Chef Ryan Carbone draws from the heirloom vegetables and cattle at nearby Rock Cobble Farm to present a multi-course culinary experience. Though we often think of farms as sprawling, rolling hills and fields, Oyster Club in Mystic reminds us that sea to table also exists. Sourcing from Sixpenny Oyster Farm in Nunk, as well as nearby vegetable and livestock farms, this shoreline restaurant with James Beard finalist, executive chef Renee Tupons, provides an array of flavors that may well have been in the water when you woke up that morning. When you eat at any of these farm-to-table spots across the state, you're supporting Connecticut farmers, reducing food miles, and getting that food at peak flavor and nutrition. Plus, there's something genuinely cool about knowing your duck came from West Haven, or your asparagus was pulled from the Windsor soil that morning. I got a chance to visit an oyster farm, something this Midwestern girl never even really considered. to talk to Beth Simons about their setup at Stonington Farms Shellfish in Mystic, which provides delicious local oysters to restaurants, wholesalers, and retailers across New England, to learn a little more about the oyster farming process.
My name is Beth Simons, and I'm one of the crew for Stonington Farms Shellfish in Mystic, Connecticut.
How do people get to visit the farm and learn about the oystering process themselves?
The easiest way is to text me, actually. My phone number is on everything, 860-857-2889. If I don't get back to you right away, I promise that I will. We'd love to have people stop by the farm. We're not always here all day, but when we are here, we love to show people around, especially this time of year when we have the upwellers going with all of our seed oysters. And, there's times of the year that there's not a whole lot going on the farm. But this time of year, one of us is always here doing something, sorting or washing the babies, or maybe we're harvesting for delivery to Boston or to local restaurants. We love sharing the farm because we love what we do, and we get really excited sharing that with people. And when people stop by, it forces us to slow down a little bit and really appreciate what we have here. And it's just fun to spread the joy.
Most people have a sense of how typical farms, livestock, crop farm, how they work. Can you explain a little bit about how an oyster farm works? And are there different times of year that different things happen, or how does that work?
So I think we're probably pretty typical in that warmer months are when we're the busiest, and then going through into the fall, we're still pretty busy. The way a traditional farmer would get seed and plant that seed, we're also getting oyster seed. We have a commercial hatchery that we use. And then we also get a huge amount of our seed from the kids at the Sound School in New Haven. They take our broodstock oysters and spawn them and grow the seed, and they grow the algae, and we buy them back. And so we have a great partnership with them. The biggest differences, I think, are, probably the most obvious is that we can't just walk our fields. I can't just go out and check my potatoes or my corn. It's weather dependent, it's tide dependent. I can't see them easily. There's a lot of things that we don't have control over because we need Mother Nature to cooperate to even get to our product. The other thing that's really unique about us is that we're moving our crop continuously as they're growing. And so we have about 120 to 130 acres between our farm on Murphy Point and Mystic to outside of Ram Island, where the oysters finish their growth process. So they move continually from the farm where they start as seedlings. As they grow bigger, they move down river where the salinity gets higher. And so we're always picking them up. We're manipulating the shape by tumbling them, and that's how we get a really attractive oyster. That's a really consistent, high-quality product by chipping the growth edge. And then you get all of that growth energy is focused into the belly of the oyster. So all of the oysters that we send to a restaurant, they're all really consistent. You're not going to get one that's an odd shape, one that's small. And we do everything by hand, which is another thing that's sort of different. There's no combine coming through and just grabbing everything and bringing it all up at once and then packaging it.
You have to manually do that.
Yeah, so everything we do is manual because we're small. Everything is done by hand. It's also hard to track the predators that are after our crop. So we have blue crabs and we have oyster drills. Those are the two main things that we struggle with on our particular plots. If we get a blue crab infestation or if we get an oyster drill infestation, potentially by the time we've found it, there's a lot of damage. And so it's a very hands-on process, but it's not eyes-on product the way we would have with a traditional farm. And unlike cattle, the oysters don't move themselves. So we're not hurting them, we're picking them all up and moving them with our boat. that's different. And then the regulations, I'm not sure how they are with traditional farming, but our regulations are really, really strict. So every time we move an oyster that's, not a seed oyster, it's got to be documented with the state. There's a website that we have to log into and say what we're moving, when we're moving it, from where to where, from this time to end time.
Wow.
So everything is really strictly monitored. The time to get to it, the risk of not being able to get to it quickly or see it, and then the amount of time it takes to monitor everything and make sure that we're doing everything according to state regulations. When people come to visit the farm, they really are shocked by how much work goes into it. A lot of people will say, like, how do you catch them?
Mm-hmm.
And really, they're just rocks with meat on the inside. So we don't catch them. They don't ever, once they're past the larval stage, they never move on their own. They stay where you put them, but you've got to
move them.
You've got to move them. Yeah. Yeah.
Make sure nothing eats them, gets them.
Yes. And the other thing that's different is I can put up no trespassing signs on land and keep people off my property if I'm a land farmer.
Yeah.
And they won't damage my crops. It's really difficult in a place like the Mystic River where there's a ton of boat traffic and people get curious when they see buoys. We've had props slice through oyster bags and through cages.
Yeah.
So that damages our gear, and then the product spills everywhere. Some of it is crushed.
Yeah.
So we have that to contend with too. Yeah, it's pretty high risk.
I didn't even think about that part.
And it's a 3-year product, 2.5-year to 3-year product.
Yeah. You start with a new, you said a larva or a...
Yep, we get seeds. So anywhere from like 4 to 12 millimeter is typically what we get. So smaller than my pinky nail.
And that takes like a full, you said 2 to 3 years to
grow, to be one of our premium products. It's 2 to 3 years, closer to 2.5 to 3 years. Yeah. We like our customers to get a nice, not huge, but a good size piece of meat. So you can really taste the mineral content and it gives you something to chew. And we're sort of known for that size and shape product. So that's what we keep growing. It's more expensive and it's more work, but it's what we want to put out there in the market.
For listeners who want to support local shellfish, what's the best way to find and buy your oysters? And what should they look for when they're choosing oysters at a market or a restaurant?
Well, the best way to get our oysters is to reach out to me. We have a farm cart right on the farm, right in Mystic, and you can get our oysters 7 days a week. The cart is open sunrise to sunset. So we'd love to have people come down and grab their oysters from us directly. If you see us hanging out on the farm, we always welcome you back to the docks and we'll show you what's going on. So that's kind of a cool way to interact with us too. You can pick us up at J&R Seafood and Off the Hook downtown. And we're at La Plage at the new Del Mar. We're at River Bar in Westerly. We're at Fairhaven Oyster Company in New Haven.
Wow.
And we're shipping nationwide right now through 2 of our wholesalers in Boston. So we're encouraging all of our customers to shoot us a message and show us, what city are you in where you're eating our oysters. And the furthest away we've gotten was Philly, but we're really hoping to see maybe some California text messages. That would be pretty cool.
Very cool. What is your favorite way to prepare an oyster? How do you like to eat them?
Raw, I don't put anything on them because I want to taste everything that has been around that oyster. I want to taste the minerals from the substrate that the oyster sat on. I want to know if I can pick up any of like the green veggie flavor from the eelgrass that it's been near. Cooked, I love to take really big oysters and I call them moisties just to gross people out because everybody hates the word moist.
Sure.
And it's sort of like a stuffy.
Yeah.
So I love to just chop them with chorizo and lemon juice, lemon zest, butter, breadcrumb, parsley, just like the way you would make a stuffed clam. I make those at Thanksgiving. They're so good because the oysters don't get chewy like a clam. These stay really nice and soft. Chorizo and butter and lemon. I mean,
Make everything more delicious.
it's not like you're going to go wrong with any of that. But yeah, that's a great way to eat them. Fried is good, but it makes a mess.
If people want to find you, what's the best way to contact you?
Our website is going to be getting an overhaul. The best way is probably to either call or text me. And that's 860-857-2889.
All right, friends and neighbors, we've covered a lot of ground today. Farmers markets bursting with local food. Pick your own farms where you can fill a bucket with strawberries, apples, or flowers. Historic farms you can walk. And restaurants where chefs are cooking with ingredients picked from fields or water that morning. Here's what I'm asking. Find a farmer's market near you and go this weekend. Pick out one thing you've never tried before. Talk to the farmer who grew it and ask them what's good right now. Or plan a Saturday morning at a pick-your-own farm. Bring the kids, bring a friend, bring a way to carry it all home. Eat a strawberry that's still warm from the sun and tastes nothing like what you get at the grocery store. Or make a reservation at a farm-to-table restaurant and taste what it's like when the food doesn't travel thousands of miles before it gets to your plate. Connecticut's farms and farmers markets are about connecting to where you live and supporting your neighbors. And these experiences are available all across our lovely little state. So get out there this season and see what's growing. And for the love of all that is fresh and delicious, buy the tomatoes. I'm Amanda Elgie, reminding you that some of the best adventures are often right down the road at a farm stand or weekend market. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Only in Connecticut. Now go find your next adventure. I have a feeling it might come with fresh peaches.